We're going to start this story with just a single farm, but believe me, it quickly becomes something much, much bigger. We're talking about a blueprint for an entire nation's future. So let's dive in and break it down.
Okay, so picture this. Right in the heart of a bustling city in Malaysia, a new kind of farm is starting to grow. But what's really being cultivated here? Well, it's not just organic produce. It's actually a whole new vision for the future of work. Right, so if the big deal isn't just about the carrots and the lettuce, what is it about? Well, the real answer is in what they're actually harvesting.
It's all about growing opportunity. This whole farm is designed from the ground up to cultivate dignity and economic self-sufficiency. But how do you even do that? How do you grow something like opportunity? Well, it all comes down to the design.
So let's talk about what this actually is. It's called the PWD SMART FARMABILITY project, and it's a really powerful social enterprise with a very, very specific mission. The whole goal here is to empower the disabled community, who are known in Malaysia as OKU, by turning them into actual agricultural entrepreneurs. The project gives them all the tools and the training they need to build a real career in high-tech, modern urban farming.
And this is so important. It's not about charity. It's all about creating genuine economic dignity and self-sufficiency. But to actually make that happen, the project had to get over a pretty fundamental hurdle. See, for this whole thing to work, they needed to guarantee something that is absolutely essential in today's economy: trust. And how did they build that trust right into the DNA of the system? They turned to blockchain. Just think about it from your perspective, right? You're a customer. You're totally willing to pay a little extra for organic, regenerative produce, especially when you know it supports a great cause. But how can you be 100% certain that your extra money is actually making it back to the farmer who grew it? The answer is something they call the Dignity Ledger. It's pretty cool. It uses blockchain technology, and you can just think of that as a super secure, unchangeable digital notebook to record every single step. It's a system built on a concept they call radical trust. So here's how this whole loop of trust actually works. First, the farmers log all their sustainable practices. This creates a record that, nobody can argue with. Then you come along as the customer. You can scan a code right on the product and see its entire history, verifying exactly where it came from. This total transparency is what justifies a higher price. And the best part? Smart contracts automatically send payments directly to the farmer. No middleman, no delays, no questions asked. Okay, but this incredible farm, it didn't just appear out of nowhere. It's not some isolated stroke of genius. It's actually just one piece of a much, much larger ecosystem, an entire system designed to bring ideas just like this to life.
And this is where the story takes a really interesting turn. This whole high-tech initiative, with its blockchain ledger and its big social mission, get this, it was developed as a student project. Yep, it came out of a place called the Rafidah School of Entrepreneurship. And let me tell you, this is not your typical school. It's a platform built on learning by doing. Students launch real businesses that tackle real-world problems. I'm talking everything from sustainable fashion to black soldier fly farming. It's basically an engine for creating impact. And it doesn't stop there. This school isn't operating all on its own in a vacuum. Nope. It's actually supported by an even bigger network of professionals. That network is called Think ESG, and it's basically a whole group of experts, consultants, and industry leaders. You can think of them as the support structure, the pros who come in and help these student-run projects figure out all the complicated stuff about sustainability and governance. They're the ones who help turn these brilliant ideas into actual viable businesses. All right, so we've got the farm, we've got the school, and we've got the professional network. But what's the glue holding all of this together? Believe it or not, the answer is in Malaysia's national education policy. This whole thing isn't just a handful of people trying to do something good. It's actually backed by a national strategy, one that was even highlighted in a UNESCO report. And this is so crucial because it means this isn't some grassroots movement fighting against the system. It's a movement that's being enabled by the system. And the entire ecosystem is possible because of a national push for something called flexible learning pathways. It's basically a national vision to completely redefine education. It's about recognizing that real, valuable learning happens outside of a lecture hall, like when you're building a farm or launching a startup.
The way they do this is through a policy called APEL, which stands for Accreditation of Prior Experiential Learning. And honestly, this is a total game changer. It's a national policy that says your real-world work experience, the stuff you've actually done, can count towards higher education. It gives that experience real academic value. That's a huge shift in thinking.
And APEL works in two really important ways. First, there's APEL-A for access. This basically opens the door for someone who doesn't have the usual formal qualifications to get into a university program, all based on their life and work experience. Then you've got APEL-C for credits. This is for students who are already enrolled, and it lets them get course credit for skills they've already picked up in the real world. Together, they create all these new on-ramps to education for pretty much everyone.
Okay, so let's tie this all together. Let's connect the dots and see what this incredible blueprint for the future really looks like.
Think about the layers here. You have a farm for disabled entrepreneurs, which was built by a student entrepreneur who was supported by a professional business network. And that whole thing was enabled by a national vision that says experience is education. See how each layer supports the one below it? It's brilliant.
So what we're looking at here is way more than just one feel-good story. This is a powerful, repeatable model. It's a blueprint for how an entire country can build a more inclusive, more sustainable economy, literally from the ground up, by empowering its people in these new, flexible ways.
And all of this leaves us with one final big question. We've just seen how technology and a new way of thinking can create a dignity ledger for farmers. So it makes you wonder, what other jobs, what other industries, what other communities out there could use that same level of radical trust and transparency? What else in our economy really deserves its own dignity ledger?